Dev patch notes. I've already looked through these, but I'm gonna put like a short summary so I can also give my opinion, so I'm not just like reading through the notes. This section for the twins, I really like. This is literally just quality of life. They're adding the add-on that makes your switch between them faster. They add on to pull Victor out, which is like the bloody fingernail, I believe, or maybe I'm thinking of Von Rose add-on. It's a fingernail, and then they're adding Toy Sword base kit. So those add-ons most likely will either be nerfed or maybe kept to make them even stronger. And they made it so the ability to recall Victor at any point while he is unbound. So that will be cool. So you can call back Victor whenever you need him. Also added the ability to change between Victor and Charlotte near a hook survivor. That makes sense because now it will fill up for anti-camp, so you can't just like if you're near a hook survivor and then you immediately like you hook them and you immediately go into Victor, it'll still fill up their anti-camp meter because Charlotte is next to the hook. So it considers you being in two places at once, just like Singularity. So if you go into a pod next to their hook, it'll still fill up their anti-camp meter even though you're looking at a pod on the other side of the map. So that's a good change. They don't need to restrict that anymore because they added the anti-camp feature. Updated 7 add-ons. We won't be able to see those until next week. Victor's pounce no longer latches onto healthy survivors. So the whole idea with this gameplay is turning Victor into Legion. And actually no wait. Turning Victor into Legion so you snowball, get everyone injured, and then make it so you still have a chase power after that. So you can injure someone, or now you can injure someone. Victor doesn't get latched onto you, and then you can use Victor
What's
to
your
then down
uncombed
them.
prestige?
I know. I'll figure that out afterwards. So basically, Victor will be an even worse version of Chucky to face because he can go over pallets. He's a 150% movement speed killer, and now he can injure you and then down you. So you're just gonna get cucked both times by Victor if they're a good Twins player. The only thing is they can't snowball, so and it looks like they're just gonna go for making Victor incredibly much like a lot stronger, but also make it so he can no longer slug snowball. And I guess that sounds like a good thing because I feel like it's more or less fun to play against slugging, but survivors are gonna have to deal with getting downed like in 10, 12 seconds against twins. The whole thing is now Victor can't be kicked after a successful pounce. So if he does injure you, you can't kick him afterwards. Um, you have to just keep running away from him, and it's like a 2 second cooldown. So he can injure you, recover in like 2 seconds, and then down you, and that will be pretty scary. With him being really quick. And then the other thing is when you down a survivor, it latches onto them. So you can't use Victor and it automatically recalls Victor after 20 seconds. So even if there's another injured survivor nearby, you won't be able to do anything. It'll latch onto Victor and then you will gain 10% speed so you can quickly get to that survivor. They can't be recovering, no one can pick them up, and you can get to them faster. This is also the same case for if they're in a locker. So if they just hop into a locker, you can get to that locker way quicker. Honestly, how this whole update sounds is I think it fixes the issue people complained about, no more slugging, but I don't know. I definitely don't think twins are going to be weak now that I've thought about this. I don't know. We're going to have to test it in the PT. They also removed the ability for you to be able to detect Victor with Killer Instinct, which means those add-ons probably are going to have new purposes, which is good because there was like 3 of those add-ons from like yellow, green, and brown tier. So I'm hoping those are going to get some cool effects. That's cool. They also made it so if you're wearing the little visual terror radius heart thing, his grunts will be picked up, kind of like how you still get the lullaby on your heart thing. So this will help people who are hard of hearing, and it will also be easier for people to see when they're able to kick Victor because he will glow red now. So only go to kick Victor if he's glowing red. That way you don't just go to him and then you're like, oh shit, I can't kick him, you know? I bet there will still be survivors that try to go kick him. Blight, they made it so it's more consistent with what you bounce off. However, this is a huge nerf to Blight. I don't even consider this minor because he can no longer hug tech. So Blight will not be able to hit you at loops that he was guaranteed to hit you at before if he played it right, which is going to be it's going to lower Blight's skill ceiling, I think, a lot, because like the really good blights would do that, and oftentimes when I was playing against a blight, that would be like the only way they would hit me at certain tiles. So now this is just gonna make blight way more dependent on his speed add-ons than ever before, and he won't be able to hug tech to get any hits. So this might actually, for the first time ever, put blight out of an S tier killer. Like this could put him down to like A tier killer with like Pyramid Head and Artist and Hillbilly. Which will be interesting because this has only ever happened to one killer in the past. Spirit used to be the third best killer in the game. She was S tier. They nerfed her. Now she's back into A tier. Hag actually used to be like the fourth best. They nerfed her. And the nerf was literally that you can wipe away her traps without flashlights, by the way. That was a huge change. It was way bigger than people expected. But yeah, that's unrelated. The biggest part, the thing I care most about, obviously, is the Twins rework, but Haddonfield. They made the map smaller, thank goodness, and they reduced the lengths of hedges. I didn't really think this was an issue, but I guess that's another good thing to add. They also adjusted the houses, so they no longer have god windows. As you can see here, the window is still there, but this window is not a window, it's a doorway now. So if the survivor vaults this window, oops. If the survivor vaults this window, you can go around this way, force them back up, and they'll come up into the main, and they'll try to vault the window again. However, you can double back and go this way, and it just makes the whole window much worse. Hopefully there's also a window like to the back right here that sometimes spawns. Hopefully they did something about that one, because they could just go like this, vault this window, go back around, vault the window, go back around. Like, it really depends. But they also added pallets and lockers along the edge of the map, so this will help dredge. Updated street tiles to feature more pallet loops, so the middle of the map is no longer a dead zone, and they also added more tiles to the park areas that are not houses. They also made it so there is no longer houses you can't enter. So they reduced the amount of houses there are, but every house that is left you will be able to play around. So I think that's cool, because the houses that you couldn't enter were just giant blocks that survivors could use to run around for a while, and if you're like an M1 killer, that's 110, like Hag or Spirit. I guess not Spirit. Like, more like Huntress or Trickster would take a while. Trickster's not 110 anymore though, is he? So that's unrelated. This huge change. Decisive Strike can now has a 5-second stun again. And when this comes out, I'm probably gonna make a video. You DS a killer, and then you have enough time to hop back into the locker, even if they see you hop into the locker, and then by the time the DS stun is over, you have the head on. It will have passed its 3-second timer. You'll be able to head on them again. That was something you could do. But that makes it so you can do funny clips where you DS, you flashbang the killer, you hop back in the locker, then you head on them, and then you flashbang them again. People were already doing this because flashbang deafens them, so they couldn't hear you going into the locker, but you'll be able to do some fun stuff with this. If you are going to do that, though, you are going to get tunneled. That's just for being aggressive with it. I think this will make it... Stop clicking. This will make it actually really strong for anti-tunnel, and you'll get distance against killers like Blight and Nurse, who you never got distance against before. I don't think it will affect much against Nurse, because a Nurse still was able to catch you with the 5-second stun. I still remember getting Giga wrecked by a Nurse when I was running DS, even when it was 5 seconds. But that could have been when she had range add-ons. I don't know the timings when they removed the range add-ons and the Decisive Strike nerf. We'll see. I think a better change would have just been to make it 3 seconds still, but make it work off of both unhooks. Kind of like off the record, you know? That would have been better. Adrenaline change, I'm actually kind of happy what they did with Adrenaline, because I did think it needed a little down tuning, and they didn't do too much. Adrenaline just no longer works when you're unhooked, so you're just going to have to... You know, you won't get rewarded for going down before the last gen pops. You have to last until the last gen pops to get value out of it if you're in chase, you know? So that's good. You don't reward survivors who failed to last long enough for the gen to pop. And they also reduce the speed boost on par with Sprint Burst, which is another good thing, because if this perk activates, even if you're exhausted, it was really frustrating. So they won't get as much speed anymore. And then, obviously, this thing is good. They make it so you don't wake up against Freddy anymore. Freddy players will be happy for this. I guess that's good. Ultimate Weapon getting... I don't even want to call it a nerf. A lot of people think it's getting a nerf, but I think this is going to be an insanely strong perk now. Being able to see the survivor's aura after you open a locker, even if it's only a 15-second window, the survivors will have no clue that you can see their aura, and you'll be able to sneak up on them or go towards them if they're hiding, and they'll have no clue that you know where they are at. Because they could just hear your terror radius and then go to hide, and then have no clue you're going to them. That's what happens a lot with nowhere to hide. However, the cooldown is doubled, so you will not be able to use it as much, and that might alone kill the perk. They also removed the ability to depip, since rank and emblems are no longer something related to your matchmaking. This was not even a thing that was needed, so I'm glad they removed the depipping thing. They also did an overhaul to the store, so they're adding bundles to the game. So instead of having to buy the killer and survivor separately in game for 500 Auric cells, right? It was always better to buy the DLC on Steam or whatever it was at, because you could get them for like $7. But if you bought them with Auric cells, it was 10. Now they're gonna make bundles, so you can buy the group of them for Auric cells, but at a discounted price, just like it is on Steam. And this will probably go the same for cosmetic sets. So you'll be able to look at Hollowed Blight Collection, the Spring Collection, Stranger Things, Resident Evil Collection, a bunch of stuff. You'll be able to see survivors, killers, bundles, collections, specials. I don't know if this will be special deals. Maybe certain cosmetics will go on sale now. That would be nice. A bunch of different stuff here. They also made it so the Rift will go live at the start of every update. Previously, the update would be on Tuesday, and the Rift would come out Wednesday. They're making it so it comes out all on Tuesday, and they're adding a new Rift option where you can buy an extra 20 tiers head start, kind of like a lot of other games are doing this now, where you can buy the first 20 tiers and the pass. I'm personally not going to use that because I have been at level 85 for the past 2 months, and we're still getting Rift fragments. If you play a lot, there's no need to buy this. A lot of people like to rush it, but it's kind of a waste of money in my opinion, because you probably won't get those back. But that's everything. I think I'm excited for the perk changes. I'm excited to see the new Haddonfield, and I'm excited to test out the new twins, honestly. I think this is a good update. It's not as huge of an update as the last two have been. We got Chucky and the twins rework in one, then we had Alan Wake. I don't think he had much of a PTB. No, the Hillbilly buff came with Alan Wake. And then, so that was another huge one. And then we had 6 Killer Twigs and the Unknown. So this one's kind of like down-tuned compared to the other ones. But I like these changes overall, now that I've thought about them more. I think it's good.